Similar to carbohydrates, one of the major functions of lipids is to provide long-term storage of energy. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, glucose is brought into the cell, and the energy that is inside that glucose molecule can either be converted to ATP, so the cell can use it right away, or it can be converted into glycogen, which is a longer term storage, or if we have plenty of glycogen, it can be converted into a particular kind of lipid. These lipids that are used for long-term storage are called triglycerides. And the reason is that triglycerides are made of three fatty acids. That's the tri. And those three fatty acids are attached to a molecule known as glycerol. That's the glycer part of the triglyceride. Glycerol is a very simple molecule. It's three carbons and it has three hydroxyl groups. Remember, the hydroxyl groups are important for being able to put two of these organic molecules together. And that's basically what glycerol does. So for each hydroxyl group on the glycerol, it faces the hydroxyl group of a fatty acid. The enzyme that puts them together removes the H and the OH to make water, dehydration synthesis, and then this oxygen bonds to the carbon on the glycerol molecule. And this happens for all three. That gives us a triglyceride. This is what is stored in our fat cells for extra energy if we were to need it in the future. Now, these fatty acids also bind to a glycerol molecule. Here's one that's all stretched out to form a special molecule known as a phospholipid. Now, you'll notice in this glycerol molecule, two of those carbons have fatty acids, but on the third carbon, we have a phosphate group and also a choline group. But let's just focus on the phosphate because that's what gives it its name. Now, remember that phosphate is actually hydrophilic. It likes water. And these fatty acids are hydrophobic. They do not like water. Well, this means that these two don't like each other. So this phosphate group is going to spin around to the other side of the glycerol molecule. So here's our two fatty acids, our glycerol, and the phosphate, which was on this side, has now flipped around to this side to get as far away from the fatty acids as possible. Now, that gives this molecule this particular shape. It's got the phosphate group, the charged hydrophilic end here, and the hydrophobic fatty acid tails down here. This is an even simpler way to draw it, where this is the hydrophilic region, the water-loving region, and this is the hydrophobic region, the part that likes fats and hates water. So this particular molecule is known as amphiphilic. Amphiphilic means that it likes both. This molecule likes water and hates water, or likes lipids. This particular chemical feature of the molecule allows it to form our cell membranes. It is an essential and the most abundant component of our cell membranes, which we will talk about in the next topic. Now, there are also other kinds of lipids that form from fatty acids. One of these is known as eicosanoids and prostaglandins. You'll primarily hear about these when you get to the second semester of A&P, but these are important signaling molecules. In particular, they're important for signaling in our immune system to let the immune system know how to coordinate its actions to protect us from pathogens. Another lipid that forms from fatty acids is cholesterol. Now, we actually make cholesterol in our bodies in addition to getting some through our diet. And despite what you might think, cholesterol is essential. We don't want too much of it, of course, or too much of a certain kind, but we do need cholesterol. It forms an important part of our cell membranes. It makes them more fluid or bendable. And it's also the precursor or the beginning step to make our sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen. which are also important for signaling. So, these are all lipids that are formed from fatty acids. Some of them resemble a polymer more, like triglycerides or phospholipids. Others sort of create a unique, wonky looking molecule, but all play important functions in the body.